Hi there, welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today we have Jill Jardine with Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. She's very talented and gifted and going to share some of her astrology, price predictions, and just what we're expecting to happen in the market. We also have Crypto SL369 with us. She's brought so many talented people to us and her predictions that she's given from her guide. So we'll be right back after this quick break. Jill and SL, welcome back. So good to have you both with us. I know we were just, I just got to see SL yesterday or talked with her, and we had a great session with Brandy. If you guys missed that, make sure you go check that out on SL's Patreon, and got some good information, some exciting things. It sounds like December is going to be really wild. And Jill, I'm curious to see what the stars have to say about December as well.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, SL. Thanks for inviting me back. Yes.
Yeah.
December is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, I still see things dropping and dropping. There's a couple dates we need to look out for, though, in December when we could see some kind of shift. But I got to be honest, you guys, I don't see things rallying at all in December. I mean, there may be a little uplift the week of before Christmas, like the 19th of December. Venus goes retrograde, which traditionally is not good for economy at all. Venus retrograde, it only happens every 2 years, but it could be a trigger because it's very close to the Jupiter of Bitcoin when it goes retrograde. But I'm really not putting, a lot of, I'm not really putting a lot of energy into that one, because I think it might be a little rally as a Christmas gift for people right before Christmas, but it won't be anything. It's not really until January when we're going to see some movement for the markets, Bitcoin and some of the other coins. And we're still waiting for Shiba to get in the clear with that Saturn opposition on its sun, which is exact as we record this today on December 8th. That won't move off until that will be within a few degrees away by the time we get to like right before Christmas. But I think the big rallies are going to be in January. But the date to watch is the 19th of December, and that week, the solstice on the 21st, right before Christmas, there could be a minor rally. But there could also be a big rally on the 28th of December, the day that Jupiter, which rules money and finances and wealth, that actually goes into a different sign of Pisces. Which could be a positive effect, give it a week out. But then, I have some forecasting into January. I noticed with the Bitcoin chart, we're going to have Venus go. So these planets, they go retrograde, right? Venus goes retrograde the least of some of the inner planets. Everybody knows about Mercury retrograde, which, by the way, will be happening in January as well as the Venus retrograde. Venus goes direct on the 29th of January, but there's a cool thing that's going to happen. It's going to come over the sun of Bitcoin in the middle of January, around the like the 17th to the 22nd, and that also coincides with when the nodes are going to switch to money signs on the 19th. So I'm really looking at the 19th, around the 19th of January, for Bitcoin and the markets to really start rallying, coming back. So I would forecast that they're going to dip. They're going to continue in a downward trajectory, or not really start going upwards to any markable extent before around the 19th of January.
Whoa, that's a lot of date. So sorry, I didn't catch everything. Oh my god.
All right,
That was a
You
lot.
are on the roll.
back over them. I can go back over 19th of December, Venus retrograde. 28th of December, Jupiter goes into Pisces. These are kind of good dates, but I don't see massive rallying. Then we have Venus retrograding all the way through most of January till the 29th. It does come over the Bitcoin sun. Venus conjunct the sun in Bitcoin in mid-January, which actually will probably start the rallying back up. So those are the important dates. I mean, I got more for you too, but
So Joe, let's so I sent you a couple of questions.
Okay.
So can we go in that order? I think it helped me and the audience follow along.
sure. So hit me up. You ask me the question, I'll give you the answer.
Okay. So the week of December 13th, do you see that the market will drop?
Yes.
Big drop or small drop?
Well, you know, we've got Venus in the shadow of its retrograde. So I don't think big drop. I think that what we're going to see is we're not going to see like, quote, a crash. We're going to see incrementally going down. And as we had said back in the summer, this is the time buy low.
Mm-hmm. Do you so a drop? Do you see like how many days it would drop? Like short?
They're like incremental. The other day to watch is of the 13th of December. You asked me, Mars is going into Sagittarius, which could be okay. That's more, you know, optimism. The problem is that Venus and Mercury and Pluto are all in Capricorn, which is more of an austere outlook. So, I mean, again, I think December is the continuation of the prices, you know, everything going down, not toppling, but just incrementally. I don't see big price drops, like, you know, a couple percentages going down, most coins.
Okay. How about from December 22nd until the end of the month?
That's a good question. That if there was going to be a rally, like I said, it could be, we don't know if the Venus retrograde is going to be a positive or negative influence, because Venus and Jupiter are the planets that rule wealth. So a Venus retrograde could be like, and remember, it hasn't been retrograde for a couple of years. So it's not like we're referring back to something earlier, this, you know, like in this fall or summer. No, this is an independent marker. So the Venus retrograde would tend to be not so positive, although with the solstice and, you know, now we are going to have 4 planets in Capricorn, there could just, I mean, just psychically, I feel like there might be a little boost between the 19th and like before Christmas. Yeah, there might be some little like Christmas Santa giving a little bit of hope where things might not, they might go up a bit, you know, there might be a little boost. But then things will be going down through the end of the year and into early January because of the Capricorn, the austerity factor.
So we'll go down the end of the year, starting from December.
Well, continue trajectory downward. However, the time after the 19th of December through like Christmas, like right before Christmas, there could be a little rally. I'm just getting that psychically. There could be a little rally.
Okay.
But then I don't think things, I mean, ending the year and going into 2022, a little grim, because it's almost like things are recalibrating is what I get. There's some kind of clearing and recalibrating energetically. And there's all kinds of behind the scenes thing I also feel like with, you know, different coins, like trying to almost like rebrand themselves for the new year. So I don't think people are going to trot out their new things until really in halfway, you know, until mid-January. And especially if they're consulting astrologers, it's not a good time when a Venus is retrograde to do something, you know, new financially. And also Mercury will be retrograde for most of January. But the good news is it's going to be retrograde in the sign Aquarius, which we've always talked about. Aquarius is excellent for cryptocurrency. And as I've mentioned before, a really good date to watch when I think, oh, okay, now we're fully back on the upward trajectory is the Chinese New Year, the Lunar New Year of the 1st of February, 2022. That's going to be, okay, now put on, you know, hang on. Things are going to start incrementally going up and then they're going to go into like fast, you know, then things are going to really speed up in February and March.
Awesome. Can you go back a little bit and talk about January?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any dips or a big rally in next month?
Oh, so January is kind of so the new moon in Capricorn. There's going to be 5 planets in Capricorn on January 2nd. Okay, new moon, which usually new moons, you know, are okay, we get a new beginning. So there could be a bit of a rally right at, that new moon goes into the 3rd, which is the first work week in the new year, Monday the 3rd. So we've got a lot of planets in Earth sign. We've got the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, and Pluto in Capricorn. And we've got the Uranus in Taurus, which rules the market. So as I said, my prediction with that is more that everything's getting reworked. I don't think people are going to trot things out that early. I think that, and then Mercury goes retrograde on the 14th of January until February 4th. So despite the fact that Chinese New Year is going to happen in a Mercury retrograde, I still think Mercury retrograde is going to be good, especially for Bitcoin, because it's going to be, they're going to have so Bitcoin, if we want to look at Bitcoin as a precursor of the market, on that 3rd, they're having their Mercury return too. So January 3rd could be possibly kind of a boost date, because we're going to see Bitcoin having their Mercury return. Mercury's still going direct. It's the only one of the few planets that's not in Capricorn. It is with Saturn in Aquarius. It's not conjunct Saturn. But then when it goes retrograde, it will be very close to Saturn. So that's why I don't see a full sprint through January. I see some ups and downs, but we could see the new year start with some hope as well, thanks to the Mercury return of the Bitcoin chart.
So that hope, which means the market will go up. Do you know how many days will go up?
Yeah, so let's look at that. Like there could be a rally from the 3rd until about when Mercury goes retrograde, which is there could be a 10-day rally there, the 3rd to the 10th. I mean, this astrologically, it's a kind of a, I mean, I'm holding to that, like, it's still time to buy low. There's not going to be any major rallies in December and January. We're really waiting for February, but within that time, it's not all downward. Like, I think that, like I said, there'll be a little upward cycle the week right before Christmas, thanks to the solstice and Venus. We're trying to figure out Venus retrograde. And then I think, just to get everybody's hope up, there could be a lot of, with the new moon in Capricorn, there could be some, inspiration from that Venus return on the Bitcoin chart. So then 2nd, 3rd of January through about the 13th, there could be some creeping upward. But I don't think it's full on like a back reboot. The reboot, like, that's a good word, reboot. The markets are rebooting. The crypto markets are rebooting themselves right now.
Okay, that's awesome to know. And then can we talk about February? I think between February, March, and April, which of those months we will have the biggest rally?
I think March.
Okay.
I mean, awesome. February is going to be really fun. We've got the new year, Lunar New Year right at the beginning. And then we're going to have the Mercury go direct in Aquarius. Go direct on the 4th, right after that. So that's also a really good sign. That's in Capricorn. Actually, that Mercury direct will kick off the Jupiter in the Bitcoin chart on the 14th, 15th of February. And then we've got it going through Aquarius. So that starts the upward trajectory. March, it's going to be really fun. We've got Uranus, Jupiter, harmonization. We've got, there's a lot of good aspects. Venus is now in Aquarius. We got Mercury and Jupiter together in Pisces in March. I think it really goes. And you asked me one of the questions, when's like the big stop date? Well, we've got a full moon lunar eclipse on the 30th of April, and I think that might be the Debbie Downer of the crypto market time. That's going to put some kind of halt to what will be an upward trajectory. But I don't know if I want people to quote me on this, but what Spirit is telling me, I think it's an unprecedented rise in the crypto market in March of 2022.
Do you know exactly what day or what week that we will have the biggest rise in March?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me see. I'm going to attribute it to the Jupiter, Mercury, Sun conjunction, which would be, okay, so good day is 6th of March is a good day. But let's move forward when they're all playing ball together. Uranus, Jupiter, the Sun. This is really sweet. Yeah, early March, there's some really nice harmonization between the Sun, Uranus, and Jupiter, which would bring like unexpected gains. And then we've got some Aquarian planets coming in. I mean, I don't know that I can pinpoint it to one day. There's going to be these like clusters of days that are really, really good. So right off the bat, I would say very early March, there's some really nice Sun, Jupiter, Uranus hanging out together. That's like from the 1st to about the 6th of March. That's a good window. Then we'd have another window coming back. Well, you know, the equinox, new beginning. I mean, sometimes I read it off of the Bitcoin chart. So the other thing off of Bitcoin, we've got Pluto in mid-March, end of March, getting really close to the Jupiter on the Bitcoin chart, which I think is going to really propel things forward. I mean, I've told you guys that, and it's also conjunct the Saturn in the Shiba chart, and it's also, it's also conjunct the Pluto in that kick token, the new one you asked me. So I think that's going to be having to do March. What we're looking at is the mainstream validation of crypto in a big way. That's what's going to boost it. Do you understand? That's where it's going to take off. I think it gets a little bit of a bumpy ride in January because of the 2 retrograde planets, all the Capricorn. You know, it's austerity. There's going to be some problems with China, you know, with our economy, getting all the Chinese goods now. I mean, hopefully people have their anything that requires a microchip, because that's going to get really hard to come by. So there's going to be a lot of weird stuff like that could affect it. But and I really feel like the talk of assimilating it into the mainstream starts in February, during that, like as early as that new moon in Aquarius. But by March, it's gained speed, and it's almost like done deal with the dates set for when that's going to happen. So that's why I think March is such a big month. You know, and the reason I can't give you one, because I think several coins are going to get on board, like, oh, you know, Bitcoin announces that this, Digibyte announces this, like, there's not just one coin situation. Shiba is going to be in that party too. So we're going to get announcements coming from various coins of like who's all in with them, you know, what famous person. And I also think there's going to be several, starting in February, there's going to be a lot of new coins that come to market that go from being unknowns to being in the spotlight. So keep an eye out for those too.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I think your prediction for March align with a lot of people. A lot of people have said that. So I totally agree. So you said in March we have a few dates or weeks that the market will do really well.
Yeah.
I'm curious, do you see like a week date that the community can take a profit?
I mean, that can even seep into April, by the way, early April. I'm just a little worried after the 21st of April, things will start when the sun goes into Taurus. And then there's some other weird thing that's going to happen there's this eclipse on April 30th is a little dire for financial stuff, because we're going to have Mercury in Taurus. We're going to have 1, 2, 3 planets in Taurus. Uranus is going to be conjunct Mercury around the middle of April, which is some big surprise that might not be good. Then at the end of April, not only do we have that eclipse, we've got some more economic surprise elements coming in. But I think that the precursor of the regular economy and things going on with that is going to drive crypto upward in February and March. Do you see? And there may be even some dates, like what I'm getting, there's some dates given by the government of like, we're going to come for your crypto. You know, I'm exaggerating, but like regulation or trying to get hands on crypto and crypto profits in some way, or limiting people's crypto profits in some way, or taxing it. I think that might all be like trotted out in April, the end of April into May. And that could be why it's sort of like clamps. It cramps the style of crypto in some way. There's something that's going to be like a big wet towel thrown on the crypto markets by, I believe, like governments or some kind of weird thing. Some of it might be coming out of nowhere, thus the surprise factor I see that's percolating in April. But some of it, you know, as visionaries and astrologers and psychics have predicted, that the buck stops here a little bit by, I always say, by the summer of 2022, there's some kind of limitations. Now, this isn't talking about fringe elements of crypto like the NFTs and some of the other things that are going to spring up. We're going to see a lot of new, how can I say this, new outposts from crypto coming in, as I said, in February, March, which is going to drive up the markets.
Mm-hmm. So I have heard that in March, we have a big rally. April, the crypto will crash.
Yeah.
Do you see that in the chart?
Yeah, I agree. That, again, it's sort of like sussing it out, like we had to, you know, like I told people, the eclipses of, you know, I said that after the 4th of, certainly after the 4th of December, the markets would start going downward, which they did, right? That prediction, right? Mm-hmm. I was, you know, off the grid in the end of November, so I don't know if that November 19th fallout, how did that affect the market?
What do you see on a chart, Lisa? Bitcoin chart.
Yeah, let's see what happened after November, because that kind of can be a little bit of a precursor for what's going to happen here at the end of April.
For the end of November.
Well, tell me when it went down.
Really went down. Let's see, it dipped really big, like the 25th, Thanksgiving, which kind of a surprise.
On the 19th? Let me see. Show me go fast forward 5 days ahead of that. 5 or 6 days ahead of Christmas. That was
last year?
No, this year. No, okay, I see. Friday, go toward around the night. No, it went down. I see what I'm following it. Oh, and then it dipped even more around what? Was that December 4th? That other dip?
Sorry, what are you talking about? You said said Christmas.
Last month. I meant last month. November.
Okay. Sorry. You said Christmas, so it threw me. Yeah. So last month, around Thanksgiving, we were at, up here November 15th.
Yep, right before the
Yeah. And then it, ran pretty hard. Let's see, our lowest point was down to 55 on the 18th.
Yeah, which was actually the eclipse because it was early the morning of the 19th. So that would have been right. Okay. Yep. And then it rallied.
Then it kind of rallied through the 21st. I wouldn't say that's any kind of crash, but then this little rise right here, the 25th, where everybody's talking Thanksgiving with their family. But then where I think everyone was kind of anticipating, we're going to get together with our family and it's going to take off like crazy. And then, this little trip down memory lane, it went the wrong way. 54, this tiny backup in the 56, and then just down here. 47.
Yeah, right on the day of the solar eclipse, which I said remember I said, people may be able to wean out some profit. The very latest would be the 4th, but I had advised between November 8th and certainly by the 19th. So, okay, so let's flash forward then into April when we're going to say a similar pattern of eclipses, okay? So let's flash forward. Let me look at my April Astro info calendar, and let's see if we can suss this one out. Okay, so it's actually a solar eclipse. I was wrong. It's a solar eclipse on the 30th. So the lunar eclipse, which is the 16th of May. So we have it opposite. The November, it was lunar and then solar. Okay, so we had that bad drop on the solar eclipse, so of the 4th of December. So we can count on a bad drop on the 30th. As I said, Pluto goes retrograde the day before. Yeah, okay. So let me track backwards in April. I think that April's Fool's Day, choo. I mean, it may have a run up until about the 11th of April, but there's a full moon. It's not an eclipse, but it's right after Good Friday. So it's right between Easter and Good Friday. Oh, Good Friday and Easter. Yeah, that could be a bit dire, actually. So it looks like 16th, 20th. Okay, so the crash, you asked me. I think it's anywhere from the 16th through the 30th of April. Probably leaning more toward the end of the month, but this full moon on the 16th looks a little dire. So that window is probably the beginning of the downward trajectory, 16th of April through the 30th. 30th, it will take a big drop. I'm not sure if it will rally. May rally at the very end of May and June, but not back to where it was.
Awesome. I think that's good information, because then sometime in March, early April, the community need to take some profits, basically.
Yeah, and I'll slow down. I get excited when I start seeing some of this stuff coming up. Sorry, everybody who's listening.
No.
They try to hang on to you every word. They like, oh.
Yeah, I'm channeling a lot of this too. That's why the pace speeds up when my cosmic guides start coming in and start literally yelling stuff at me. And then I have to go and check it out in the calendar to make sure that, well, I know they're right, but I'm like, okay, I need more technical information, like the date. So then I track it through the calendar. So it's a multiverse process, a multi process of channeling the multiverse. So sorry, the guides are on a different frequency than we are. And they sometimes go faster.
They're excited.
Oh my God, fast, which is fine.
Well, I'm getting more information in the amount of time we have, because I think we didn't have a lot of time today, so we're getting as much information. They also do that, and any of your guests, any of your listeners who have had readings with me know that, like, I look at their personal charts and get excited, and the rate of the reading may speed up, which just means they're getting so much more content than really what they're paying for. So it's not a bad thing in those respects, but I honor that they want to be writing this down and taking notes, because this is the first time we've really looked at the spring in depth. We were all, remember, we've been kind of fixated on the eclipses of November and December, and those predictions were right on. And again, it's this fine pointing or fine tuning when to take the profits. And if I look back to that time period in October and November, I remember the 28th of October would be coming up, which was 3 full weeks before the eclipse. So let's think about that as well when we project into April. The high point of taking profit was, I think, the 26th, 27th, 28th, maybe to the 29th of October. So suss that out, everyone, 3 weeks before the actual date of the eclipse. So if we look into April and go 3 weeks before, we're coming to around the 9th and 10th of April. The 2 weeks before is that full moon that I was precautionary about on the 16th of April. But I think probably big profits. We got a new moon on the 1st, which is kind of fun. April's Fool's Day is also a new moon. So there may be some high profit time between the 1st and the 9th of April.
Mm-hmm.
We'll fine tune that as we get closer, as we did. Remember, in the summer, I started calling out those dates and we tweak them, and people are like, oh, we want you to be exact the first time you say it. Well, energetics change. We have different timelines operating. The collective consciousness is either shifting or not on schedule with making the shifts. We're certainly not on schedule these days, but I have hope that there'll be accelerations in consciousness. And as we discussed, crypto is very much affected by the consciousness of those who invest in it, especially the people in your group.
Mm-hmm. So, Jill, if people are late to take profits, if they don't take profit in March, so the March rally in April, the first week of April, from the 1st to 9th, which one has a bigger rally, March or April?
Well, I think March. March, it's like, you know what? This is what Spirit's kind of downloading to me. Give me a minute. This may make sense to you, SL and Lisa. I'm hearing there's going to be 3 waves. 3 waves.
Okay.
2 in March, and then the last wave in very early April.
Mm-hmm.
Although February is going to be very nice too, but February it's going to keep. I mean, for some people who are faint of heart and don't want to like wait till the last minute, so February is going to be good, but I would really wait till March. Why is that? Well, because it's going to keep going on, and like I said earlier, some of these announcements of integration and big projects, crypto related, aren't going to be trotted out until probably when Mercury, when Mercury, Venus, and Mars are all in Aquarius around that first week in March.
I mean, I think a lot of this goes back to some of the previous interviews that we did. I mean, we were talking before we started the show about the Digibyte project and how we were, SL, I can't remember who we had on with Digibyte, but they were seeing government contracts with Digibyte in the spring. And now I was just listening to the hearing that's on Capitol Hill with cryptocurrency and the couple exchanges that they have that they're interviewing, and they're talking about not using AP addresses for regulation, but using things like NFTs, and how basically the ID or digital ID is the KYC issue is one of the biggest issues. And with DigiID, that's a big solution for a lot of that. So I could see those two things going hand in hand. So like Jill's saying, these solutions kind of rolling out and seeing, finding those solutions in the cryptocurrency markets. And then the very news I sent you guys right before the show started, I think it came out yesterday or last night, my husband sent it to me, that the US gave Reggie Middleton the patent, and basically he's the first real DeFi, and that's going to affect the markets and a lot of coins that mimicked what Reggie did originally. And now, I mean, that lists Uniswap, all these tokens that are now basically mimicking what he originally created. So I don't know how that's going to all play out as well. That'll affect a lot in the markets.
Yes. And the thing is, with all these planets in Capricorn now, a lot of this, as I said earlier, Lisa, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. There's a lot of behind the scenes things happening this month, okay, as we end the Gregorian calendar year and we begin a new one in 2022. So I feel like there's a lot of things that are being worked on with like that, with the integration of crypto. And, it's not, they're not going to announce it during a holiday season. They're not going to announce it that early on in the new year as people are getting their groove back. Those announcements would more likely come at the end of end of January into February and March. So yeah, and with all the Capricorn, they're still working out the kinks of some of these big company and big big projects that and that's why, and I don't want your listeners to get discouraged about these downward cycles we're seeing now. I mean, they weathered the whole summer of 2021. So this is more of a 2-month down cycle where in the summer, what was it? The whole, like from April until really late September, correct?
Right. We really didn't see much movement until, we got into October, I feel like. You mentioned, you kind of went back to, we were talking about December and closing out this month. And there is a kind of a significant numerology date coming up this month where it bookends 12, 22, 21. And I wondered if that had any significance in astrology as well. Is that
another one too? We had 12-2-21 was the same. It was an anagram. This one is interesting because it's 4 2s in the middle instead of 1.
Okay.
Well, I mean, numerology and astrology are cousins, and that numerology looks at cycles between 1 and 9, And so, I mean, I think it's quite auspicious. It is the day after the winter solstice. And
Okay.
remember, last year at the winter solstice, we had the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction on 12/21. And remember, the winter solstice of 2012 was the initial date for consciousness shifts, which did happen among many of us, but not a big part of the population. So the astrology of that date, actually, the sun is in, I mean, it's a moon in Leo date, which is kind of nice, but it really is like 1, 2, 3, 4 planets in the sign of Capricorn. Just it's kind of nice when the numbers come together like this. So yeah, I think people should look at that as an auspicious date. I don't know that the market will rally, although it is
Okay.
a window when I see things could go up between the 19th and right before Christmas. So,
Okay.
but the auspiciousness is to be found in numerology. If people want to, ones are new beginnings and twos are generally about relationships, although 2 in astrology rules the second house of money. So it could be a good indicator. So then we want to look at something, what's a partner date? Well, we got the big date in February, 2/2/2/2/2 and 2/2/2/2/2. So those
Yeah.
are great dates. And actually February 2nd is right there after the Lunar New Year. So that's a very auspicious date, as is 2/2/2. That should be February 2nd, 2022, February 22nd. So 2 months out is also a very auspicious day.
Right.
So yeah, so keep an eye on those.
My mother's birthday.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting. I just wondered if astrology could give us any more clues about the significance of a date that maybe numerology was pointing to. So I was curious about
They're
that.
master numbers, 11, 11, 22, 22. So master numbers are sometimes when we have a master number date, such as 12, 22, 21, we're going to have some, what's available for people are higher level frequencies coming in, master consciousness, those beings that look out for our planet and our personal and planetary evolution. So I would say it's a very good day for intuitive tapping in to see what you need to do personally with your portfolio.
Okay. Good information.
Thanks for that, Jill. Someone asked, I don't know if you have this information. If you don't have, that's fine.
Is this the July 17th thing?
No. We can, I think, talk about that in the future's show, like next week's show or something, the second.
Okay.
Morning. Someone asked if you see any world event happen in December cause the lockdown.
Yeah. So, my friend there, Joni Patri, I saw her out at the Sedona Vedic Astrology Conference. Apparently she made, in her video for December 2021, she said on the 20, there's in the Vedic astrology, there's like a war star. I mean, she's right to the extent where look what's happening right now with Ukraine. So that's why we're in that date of the 24th of December could be very so it's Christmas Eve. It's a Uranus Saturn. It's the last square of those two together. They've been doing that all year. So it brings unexpected stuff in the West, and in the Vedic astrology, it's sort of a dire time. So that's something people might want to keep an eye on. I'm not as fatalistic in predicting it's going to be it's a war star or there's a war, but there are certainly tensions rising right now, and they'll probably come to a head. Even though it's a day before Christmas, it's within those 3 days of the 24th to the 27th. The fallout of that will be. But what was the question about some bigger prediction of the economy in general?
Not so much of the economy in terms of like the lockdown. Anything more crazy?
Yeah. Well, lockdown, what I predicted, depending on where people live, of course, January's grim with all those planets in Capricorn and Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde. I mean, there will be a movement of people in power trying to have their gasp of getting everybody back into fear and trying to limit people's response. I have been predicting that. It's funny because I thought it would come this month, December, but the airlines don't want that loss of income with travel. So I think that the Christmas travel rush will get in, but then that will be used as the excuse as why people have to be quarantined or locked down or whatever they're going to trot out. They'll use the Christmas rush. So, but as we know, I mean, I mean, it's not me, it's my guides. They had told me very specifically, and you guys remember this summer, that they would trot out a new variant right in time for Christmas, the day after Thanksgiving. So that prediction was right on with the Omicron, right? But it's still being, I think Omicron is still being, what's the word? Formulated how to use it. I mean, in the area where I live, a lot of people have COVID with the Delta variant. And interesting enough, half of the people, like I actually know people, like about 8 people I know, and half of them are vaxxed and half of them aren't. So that's interesting too. That and symptomology, they all seem to be on the same level. So it will be interesting to see, but I do feel these retrograde planets are going to try to make a return to 2020 because of the fact they're mimicking the outer planets. So we have Pluto still in Capricorn, but then we're going to have Mercury, Venus, and Venus, Mercury, and Pluto, and the Sun. Of course, the Sun, Surya. They're going to be going through Capricorn retrograde at the end of this month, and so is Mercury retrograde in Aquarius in January. So there's a mimicking of 3 planets in Capricorn as there was in 2020 that set up the COVID. So we could see, a retrograde, but it would be very brief because it's more with these planets that move faster than Saturn and Pluto. So yes, a long-winded answer to there could be something in January where there would be a movement to mandating again, like stronger, and B, everybody's got to get on that booster train of vaccine. And second and thirdly, that people have to be limited in their movement, however they decide they're going to do that, whether it's a lockdown, quarantines, and I feel like they're going to have a new thing they'll make up that will be made up. So it won't sound as like oppressive as lockdown or quarantine, but it's basically going to be a similar vibe.
I was going to say, because it's already been proven in the federal courts in all 50 states that it's unconstitutional. So
it will have a different terminology problem.
In the U.S., it's,
January, Mercury's in Aquarius, there'll be a different terminology. Psychological. It's about psychological stuff, Pluto in Capricorn. So, everybody who's listening should have, should be working on their psychological resiliency. That's very important, especially in the end of this month and January, because of what may be going down. Psychological resiliency, and don't worry if crypto looks like it's going down. It's going to rally, and we have a rebirth in January. I mean, in March.
It's still the bridge out, of a failing system. Yeah.
Why doesn't everybody look at that? February is a rebirthing time.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got most information for Bitcoin in terms of from December to April. So can we move on to Shiba? Because some people are curious about.
I'm curious.
For this month.
Shiba's in a holding pattern still. Saturn opposing its natal sun, but by the time we get into the end of the month, that should be pretty good because it will finally be a couple degrees away from the Saturn opposition, never to return again for 28 years. So this is good for Shiba, this month, December. And then what's going to happen? Let's see. What else is going to get? Well, Interestingly, it's great that you're asking about this because these retrogrades in January are actually going to benefit Shiba because Venus will come over the Jupiter of Shiba's chart January 5th and 6th and 7th. So that's kind of cool for Shiba. Around the starting of the 6th of January, there's a Venus conjunct Pluto. Yay. We're going to have Pluto, let's see, Venus comes over. Yeah, I mean, I think Shiba's going to be one of the first to, come and rally because of the fact there's some nice Venus transits over their 3 Capricorn planets in the 7th house. Saturn,
Shiba ran first on Bitcoin when we had this last little rally when coming out of the summer.
Shiba's going to do really, despite the retrogrades, it's harmonizing with like 3 of the Shiba planets in Capricorn. So, they'll be ready. They're off of their opposition. They'll be getting ready to bring some things out. And then Venus goes direct on the 29th, which is really good for them. But Saturn is also leaving the building finally and getting out of their 7th house and going into an 8th house, which is going to solidify some, things. Saturn in the 8th, they're going to, I think their rebirth is happening. That's around the 13th of January. So there's these marker dates that are good for Shiba that aren't necessarily good for Bitcoin and some of the other coins that are going to be popping up in January. That's why I think they are going to be. And I think they'll start a rally around the 29th of January when Venus goes direct. And then the Mercury retrograde is also going to benefit them because we're going to have Mercury come over their natal Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. Not their Jupiter, but Mercury's also going to be unwinding some things for Shiba, meaning cleaning up some things for Shiba as it goes. So those retrograde, with these charts I have here, Shiba's probably going to be a coin that actually benefits from these retrogrades in January, where the major crypto market won't be.
Jill, there's a lot of speculation predictions going on this month for Shiba. So for Shiba, we interest in the drop first for this month. Do you see, like today is the 8th, from now into December 29th, do you see Shiba go down a little bit or a lot?
It's still going down incrementally. That's my new word, so I used it a lot. It's going down, it's going down, it's going down. And then it could start rallying as soon as the 6th of January.
How about,
I don't see a big plop drop. No.
It's going down incrementally.
Yeah.
Every week? Every week?
Yeah. It's going to continue going down. And you're right, until about the 29th, 30th. And then it's going to maybe start going up incrementally, or, it won't be as going down. It's going to have a turnaround. I think the turnaround date, though, is more the 6th of January.
So December 29th and December 30th, do you see Shiba will have a big bump?
I think they might start going up. I don't see big.
Okay.
But the thing is, they're only 2 degrees off of the opposition by the end of the month. It's after the 6th of January, they start coming, 3, 4, they start rallying out of opposition. And then I think moving out of their 7th house, that's good too. Saturn moves out of their 7th house in mid-January.
Okay. So that confirms some of our prediction in my group. I think my group know what we're talking about.
Yes, I agree.
So January, you said that January will go up. Do you see that they will sign any like major contract, or they will get listed on Robinhood in January?
Not January, unless it's the very end of the month.
What day?
Well, I think it would be after the Venus, and they might not even do it. If they have anybody savvy with astrology on their team there, they won't do it until Mercury goes direct, which is on February 4th, after the 4th of February. And Venus doesn't go direct until the 29th. So, they'd wait it out and probably do something around the 7th of February. if there's
And how about February? How's Shiba will perform in February?
gangbusters. All right, let's leave on that note.
All right, can you provide us some dates, because people are like glued to this screen. They want to know the date.
Of what?
Shiba, so they can take some profits.
Okay.
The day they will go gangbuster.
Oh, it's going to start going gangbusters after Mercury goes direct. So, I mean, it will start rallying 6th. Let's see. Mercury goes into the 8th house of Shiba at the end of February. Let's see. Mercury, Venus goes over Jupiter. Hey, here's a date for you. 23rd of February. Oh, that 222 too. 22,
Oh.
222, 223. Good dates. Good dates, Venus.
So February 2nd or February 22nd?
22nd.
Okay.
22nd, 23rd, really good dates for Shiva. Because Venus Jupiter conjunction. Yay. Yeah, that's actually on the 222 date. So there you go. Big time, big date. And last year, if people remember, 211 was a big day for crypto, for Bitcoin. 211, 21. So this year it's 222. February 22nd, 2022 is a really good date. That's a Venus Jupiter conjunction, with Venus going direct in the Shiba chart. That's a great transit.
So normally what has been happening with Shiba is that when it loses 0, which is when it's going gangbuster, then a few days later it happened like big drop. So this October had a rally, and it dropped by 60%. So do you see any date in February after the big bump?
Yeah, you're talking about stabilization. Okay, so it's also having its Uranus return too, because it's weirdly enough, it's having, so we got to get, so Uranus return is done. Oh yeah, so that's done, weirdly enough, at the end of February too. Yeah, I mean, what I'm hearing about Shiba is that probably the rally at the end of February, around the 22nd, 23rd, is because they've gotten some kind of stabilizing. This is what Shiba needs, is a stabilization factor with all that Capricorn, and they haven't had that, like the anchor is what I'm hearing. They need the anchor. So somebody, maybe it is the Robinhood, maybe it's some other interest that says Shiba's our coin, and you're going to use it to, buy this and this and this from these companies, or some other unique manifestation of how to use it. So that happens, and that's the anchor. That's the stability. That's the stabilizer, and then it goes way up. Then there's none of this erratic up and down. It's been erratic because it's been going back. Uranus has been going back and forth over the founding Uranus in its chart. So that makes for, destabilization or erratic behaviors. And I think the erratic behaviors, and then the Saturn opposing the Sun. So they've had that to contend with for the last 6 months. And then that patterning is over, and there's a stabilization pattern happening.
Which is awesome for our crypto holder. But if people want to take profit and buy back, do you see any date in February or March that I can do that?
Stay tuned. I'm not getting it off of the.
Got to keep them coming back for more.
Only because I got to tune. That's a good question for my guides too, and that's a good question for me to tune into after I've chanted 108 Gayatri mantras. So I'll be getting on that one.
All right,
she's got some work to do.
Yeah, we can talk about next week when I do a podcast with you or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be good. Yeah, maybe we'll have those answers. That's a good reason for them to tune into the podcast that we're going to release next week.
Definitely. And you guys can go to Jill's Jardine, Cosmic Scene with Jill Jardine. There's a link in the description of this video on buzzsprout.com where you can find all of Jill's latest podcasts. I don't know why my page is not loading so I could scroll up. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, it's been a while since that. Well, it's been over a month since SL has been a guest on the podcast. So a lot has happened in that time, right, SL?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you guys definitely need to do that and catch up. That would be awesome. But you guys can check that out. And you can also find a link to SL's Patreon. If you're not already a member, jump on over there and join. There's still a couple of full access memberships left. So all those links, check out. And there's also a link to my upcoming meetup in St. Petersburg, Florida. We will be there December 17th and 18th. We're giving away crypto. There's a Bitcoin ATM, and there's a guy that's going to be there handing out $20 bills, and you can go buy some crypto. And
Free money.
Pimpy from Pimpy's Investment Chat's going to be there. Snippy from JSNIP4, if you guys know him from Realist News, will be there. Jenny Moonstone is coming. Miriam Haneen is coming. We've got my buddy Clint Westwood, TPA, Rice Crypto, just a whole bunch of wild and crazy folks. So you guys can find more information about that all in the description below.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Thank
Very
you.
excited about it.
So, Jill, do you see that Amazon will have partnership with Shiba?
With who?
Shiba.
I don't. It's fun. It's funny. It's either Bitcoin or Shiba, but I think the Bitcoin has already been discussed and it didn't happen, so it probably is with Shiba. But I'll get more clarity on that. Yeah, because I'm hearing Bitcoin, but I feel like that was in the works and that deal that just didn't happen for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because Amazon couldn't have as much control in the project, where with Shiba it's going to be more cooperative. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that we'll get more clarity on that. I mean, this is all what's going down right now. This stuff is being hammered out behind the scenes, and some of your people might be in the know. January as well. All these big collaboratives and these big cooperations between companies and different coins are going on, and that's why I feel like in March, they're all, most of them, several are announced in March, but even some in February.
Oh, okay, I see.
Okay, all right, thank you, everybody.
Super exciting. Thank you both for coming on. I love our time together. Jill, just one quick question before you go. Do you have any thoughts on the silver market in December?
Silver is totally a good bet. As far as it rallying. Again, I'm hearing those late dates, the 29th and 30th.
Okay.
That's being really good for silver. 29th. What day of the week is that even? 29th is it's a Wednesday, Mercury's day. Yeah. Mercury silver.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
I love it. It.
We will have another show on December 20th, 2021 at 2 p.m.
20th. Or we can
20th.
Yeah, 20th. At 2 p.m. next week, in a few weeks. To talk about a bunch of coins that we haven't got to.
Sure.
We have the native chart for Saitama, the new token, Bitcoin Black. We want to know is Scam Coin in it on XYO. And then I also probably will have a few more blue chips, native chart. I'm asking a friend to provide to me.
Great.
So the audience keep on asking about Akita predictions, but we don't have Akita native chart. So if anyone have like the birth chart for any coin, send me a message on Telegram or Twitter, and Jill will be happy to read. But we cannot read astrology with our native chart. Akita, we don't have it. Yushiba, we don't have it. There's a lot of coins we don't have a native chart. We love to talk about Matic, but I'm still trying to figure out Matic native chart.
Matic and Polkadot, if anyone can get that, because I get very good feelings about those two into next year for sure.
Yeah, I think both of them will do excellent. In terms of psychically, I don't know the good date, but in terms of psychically, both of them will do excellent next year. I think it cannot. It's impossible for both of them to fail or not doing well next year. It's like I think we'll hear about both of them a lot next year.
Hey, I also connected with my Sedona peeps who are psychic and whatnot with crypto, and I never heard you talk about Chainlink.
Oh, Chainlink would because we missed. It's not that we missed the boat. So it came on the scene in 2019.
Yeah.
And it has been doing well, but not as well as Polkadot or some other projects.
Yeah. Apparently, according to the psychics in Sedona, that one's going to take off next year too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of ecosystem will take off. There's like I think, oh my lord, like probably at least 50 projects will take off. It's very impossible to talk about all of them. So Chainlink, I have the price prediction for a long time for $360. Right now is $22. Chainlink is within the top 20 on the CMC list.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of coin that I don't discuss with you. But you can ask me for price prediction, but I don't have a natal chart. If we don't have a natal chart, I don't know how can we discuss it.
Yeah, so maybe somebody in your group can suss that out for Chainlink as well.
The issue with all these projects is that they don't provide us the location that they list up they launch.
Oh.
It's really weird. Like it's big secrets. Not a secret, but I didn't disclose it.
We could always do it using Washington, D.C. as a place, to get an idea how it how it will be affected. But that only gives us the U.S., how it affects the U.S., which so many of your people are elsewhere.
So I have an astrologer, my friend. She's a Vedic astrologer. A lot of projects, if she doesn't have the location, she will use the moon or some other technique to read. She reads a lot of coin, a lot of coin. And some of them she doesn't have location, but she still read it, and it's still pretty accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah. If we have all the information, we'd love to, provide more content.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right, well, I got to pop off, you guys.
Thanks so much. Thanks again. All right, everybody, have a great day, and check out all the links in the description. Appreciate you all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.